Okay, who would like to read first?
Well, hey, Nicole, shall we start with Napoleon? That way then we can... Nicole, how about Napoleon starting?
That sounds like a great idea, Chris.
I won't be able to keep up with him. Chapter. So here he is, the man himself.
Thank you. Fire away.
Autosuggestion is a term which applies to all suggestions and all self-administered stimuli.
How's that quality, folks? Can you hear it okay?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
here
that's
he is.
great.
Yeah, no, that's great.
And through the five senses. Stated in another way, autosuggestion is self-suggestion. It is the agency of communication between that part of the mind where conscious thought takes place, and that which serves as the seat of action for the subconscious mind. Through the dominating thoughts which one permits to remain in the conscious mind, whether these thoughts be negative or positive is immaterial, the principle of autosuggestion voluntarily reaches the subconscious mind and influences it with these thoughts. Nature has so that he has absolute control over the material which reaches his subconscious mind through his five senses, although this is not meant to be construed as a statement that man always exercises this control. In the great majority of instances, he does not exercise it, which explains why so many people go through life in poverty. Recall what has been said about the subconscious mind resembling a fertile garden spot in which weeds will grow in abundance if the seeds of more desirable crops are not sown therein. Autosuggestion is the agency of control through which an individual may voluntarily feed his subconscious mind on thoughts of a creative nature, or by neglect, permit thoughts of a destructive nature to find their way into this rich garden of the mind.
There he is.
That
Carry on.
that actually wasn't Napoleon.
I think it was.
No, that's not his voice.
That was Earl Nightingale.
Really? They
Yeah.
represent
Yeah,
audible.
There is one
I'm
available. There is one available with Napoleon Hill speaking. I tried to download it before I got on, but they switched me over to the Australian format, and they don't allow downloading onto computers. So once I switch back to the US format, I'll download it and have it ready for next week.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, well, I have to tell Audible. Anyway, there you go. But we had Earl Nightingale joining us as well then. How's that?
Almost as good as the man himself.
Well, that's good.
Thank you, Chris. That's awesome.
No sweat.
Who would like to read next? How about you, Chris?
Okay.
What line are we on?
39.
39, I think. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
You're instructed in the last of the 6 steps described in the chapter on desire to read aloud twice daily the written statement of your desire for money and to see and feel yourself already in possession of the money. By following these instructions, you communicate the object of your desire directly to your subconscious mind in a spirit of absolute faith. Through repetition of this procedure, you voluntarily create through habits which are favorable to your efforts to transmute desire into its monetary equivalent. Go back to these 6 steps described in Chapter 2 and read them again, very carefully, before you proceed further. Then, when you come to it, read very carefully the 4 instructions for the organization of your mastermind group, described in the chapter on organized planning. By comparing these 2 sets of instructions with that which has been stated on autosuggestion, you, of course, will see that the instructions involve the application of the principle of autosuggestion. Remember, therefore, when reading aloud the statement of your desire, through which you are endeavoring to develop a money consciousness, that the mere reading of the words is of no consequence unless you mix emotion or feeling with your words. If you repeat 1,000,000 times the famous Emile Coué formula, day by day, in every way I am getting better and better, without mixing emotion and faith with your words, you will experience no desirable results. Your subconscious mind recognizes and acts upon only thoughts which have been well mixed with emotion or feeling. Someone else?
Sure, I'll read a little bit.
Thanks, Callie.
Okay. This is a fact of such importance as to warrant repetition in practically every chapter, because the lack of understanding of this is the main reason that the majority of people who try to apply the principle of autosuggestion get no desirable results. Plain, unemotional words do not influence the subconscious mind. You will get no appreciable results until you learn to reach your subconscious mind with thoughts or spoken words which have been well emotionalized with belief. Do not become discouraged if you cannot control and direct your emotions the first time you try to do so. Remember, there is no such possibility as something for nothing. Ability to reach and influence your subconscious mind has its price, and you must pay that price. You cannot cheat even if you desire to do so. The price of ability to influence your subconscious mind is everlasting persistence. In applying the principle described here, you cannot develop the desired ability for a lower price. You and you alone must decide whether or not the reward for which you are striving, the money consciousness, is worth the price you must pay for it in effort. Okay, I'll let somebody else pick up on 94.
Wisdom
Okay.
and cleverness alone.
Good evening. Wisdom and cleverness alone will not attract and retain money, except in a few very rare instances, where the law of averages favors the attraction of money through these sources. The method of attracting money described here does not depend upon the law of averages. Moreover, the method plays no favorites. It will work for one person as effectively as it will for another. Where failure is experienced, it is the individual, not the method, which has failed. If you try and fail, make another effort, and still another, until you succeed. Your ability to use the principle of autosuggestion will depend very largely upon your capacity to concentrate upon a given desire until that desire becomes a burning obsession. When you begin to carry out the instructions in connection with the 6 steps described in the 2nd chapter, it will be necessary for you to make use of the principle of concentration. Let us here offer suggestions for the effective use of concentration. When you begin to carry out the first of the 6 steps, which instructs you to fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire, hold your thoughts on that amount of money by concentration or fixation of attention with your eyes closed until you can actually see the physical appearance of the money. Do this at least once each day. As you go through these exercises, follow the instructions given in the chapter on faith and see yourself actually in possession of the money. Someone else, please?
Bill?
I'll take it. Here is a most significant fact. The subconscious mind takes any orders given it in a spirit of absolute faith and acts upon those orders, although the orders often have to be presented over and over again through repetition before they are interpreted by the subconscious mind. Following the preceding statement, consider the possibility of playing a perfectly legitimate trick on your subconscious mind by making it believe, because you believe it, that you must have the amount of money you are visualizing, that this money is already awaiting your claim, that the subconscious mind must hand over to you practical plans for acquiring the money which is yours. Hand over the thought suggested in the preceding paragraph to your imagination and see what your imagination can do or will do to create practical plans for the accumulation of money through transmutation of your desire. Do not wait for a definite plan through which you intend to exchange services or merchandise in return for the money you are visualizing, but begin at once to see yourself in possession of the money, demanding and expecting meanwhile that your subconscious mind will hand over the plan or plans you need. Be on the alert for these plans, and when they appear, put them into action immediately. When the plans appear, they will probably flash into your mind through the 6th sense, in the form of an inspiration. This inspiration may be considered a direct telegram or message from infinite intelligence. Treat it with respect and act upon it as soon as you receive it. Failure to do this will be fatal to your success. In the fourth of the 6 steps, you were instructed to create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once to put this plan into action. You should follow this instruction in the manner described in the preceding paragraph. Do not trust in your reason when creating your plan for accumulating money through the transmutation of desire. Your reason is faulty. Moreover, your reasoning faculty may be lazy, and if you depend entirely upon it to serve you, it may disappoint you. Someone else?
I'll go. When visualizing the money you intend to accumulate with closed eyes, see yourself rendering the service or delivering the merchandise you intend to give in return for this money. This is important. A summary of instructions. The fact that you're reading this book is an indication that you earnestly seek knowledge. It's also an indication that you're a student of this subject. If you're only a student, there is a chance you may learn much that you did not know. But you will learn only by assuming an attitude of humility. If you choose to follow some of the instructions but neglect or refuse to follow others, you will fail. To get satisfactory results, you must follow all of the instructions in spirit of faith. The instructions given in connection with the 6 steps in the 2nd chapter will now be summarized and blended with the principles covered by this chapter as follows. Go into some quiet spot, preferably bed at night, where you will not be disturbed or interrupted. Close your eyes and repeat aloud, so you may hear your own words, the written statement of the amount of money you intend to accumulate, the time limit for its accumulation, and the description of the service or merchandise you intend to give in return for the money. As you carry out these instructions, see yourself already in possession of the money. For example, suppose that you intend to accumulate $50,000 by the 1st of January, 5 years hence, that you intend to give personal services in return for the money in the capacity of a salesman. Your written statement of your purpose should be similar to the following. By the 1st day of January 19 such and such, or 2000 and such these days, I will have in my possession $50,000, which will come to me in various amounts from time to time during the interim. In return for this money, I will give the most efficient service of which I am capable, rendering the fullest possible quality and the best possible quality of service in the capacity of a salesman and describe the service or merchandise you intend to sell. I believe that I will have this money in my possession. My faith is so strong that I now see the money before my eyes. I can touch it with my hands, and it's now available, awaiting transfer to me at that time, and in the proportion that I deliver the service I intend to render in return for it. I'm awaiting a plan by which to accumulate this money, and I will follow that plan when it is received. Second, repeat this program night and morning until you can see in your imagination the money you intend to accumulate. Third, place a written copy of your statement where you can see it night and morning and read it just before retiring and upon arising until it has been memorized. Someone else like to continue?
Sure, I'll go ahead. Oh, go ahead. You haven't done it yet. Go ahead.
Okay. Remember, as you carry out these instructions, that you are applying the principle of autosuggestion for the purpose of giving orders to your subconscious mind. Remember also that your subconscious mind will act only upon instructions which are emotionalized and handed over to it with feeling. Faith is the strongest and most productive of these emotions. Follow the instructions given in the chapter on faith. These instructions may at first seem abstract. Do not let this disturb you. Follow the instructions no matter how abstract or impractical they may at first appear to be. The time will soon come, if you do as you have been instructed, in spirit as well as in act, when a whole new universe of power will unfold to you. Skepticism in connection with all new ideas is characteristic of all human beings. But if you follow the instructions outlined, your skepticism will soon be replaced by belief, and this in turn will soon become crystallized into absolute faith. Then you will have arrived at the point where you may truly say, I am the master of faith. I am the captain of my soul. Many philosophers have made the statement that man is the master of his own earthly destiny, but most of them have failed to say why he is the master. The reason that man may be the master of his own earthly status, and especially his financial status, is thoroughly explained in this chapter. Man may become the master of himself and of his environment because he has the power to influence his own subconscious mind, and through it gain the cooperation of infinite intelligence. You are now reading the chapter which represents the keystone to the arc of this philosophy. The instructions contained in this chapter must be understood and applied with persistence. If you succeed in transmuting I thought there was a period there. Applied with persistency if you succeed in transmuting desire into money. So, anybody else?
I'll read.
Thanks,
Okay.
Callie.
Okay.
Miss Maggie.
The actual performance of transmuting desire into money involves the use of autosuggestion as an agency by which one may reach and influence the subconscious mind. The other principles are simply tools with which to apply autosuggestion. Keep this thought in mind, and you will at all times be conscious of the important part the principle of autosuggestion is to play in your efforts to accumulate money through the methods described in this book. Carry out these instructions as though you were a small child. Inject into your efforts something of the faith of a child. The author has been most careful to see that no impractical instructions were included because of his sincere desire to be helpful. After you've read the entire book, come back to this chapter and follow in spirit and in action this instruction. Read the entire chapter aloud once every night until you become thoroughly convinced that the principle of autosuggestion is sound, that it will accomplish for you all that has been claimed for it. As you read, underscore with a pencil every sentence which impresses you favorably. Follow the foregoing instruction to the letter, and it will open the way for a complete understanding and mastery of the principles of success.
Nice and short. Thank you, Carly. Let's head back to the start and talk about this.
Inspiring.
Yes.
Oh, it's so short.
Yes, much shorter than last week. So anything there in the first couple of pages that jumped out at anyone? Did anyone do underline, like I said in the last couple of lines, underline things that jump out and really resonate with you?
There was one that jumped out at me, and it was that one statement, day by day in every way, I am getting better and better. That was for me to take that on.
Yeah.
It's a mantra.
Yeah, that changed a lot of people's lives, and a lot of people also didn't change their lives with that mantra, and that was because they didn't put the feeling behind it. So that was a good lesson for us, that there's a story there that we can learn for those who really did apply it correctly with faith and really emotionalizing it. They really did get the results, but the people who just set it off by route didn't get the results.
Hi, Nicole.
Hi, how are you? Is that Sandra?
Hi. Yeah, sorry I'm late. I was about 5 minutes late, so sorry. But I like the part of it that it says, be a child.
Yeah.
To remember and be a child. Like, we all know what kids can be like, so they have great imagination. So kind of be like a child and think of it, that you're the inner child, you know. And that's what kind of, you know, because we can be too serious at times, you know, with different things go, you know, life and that kind of thing. But I liked being a child and look at it that you were a child, and you get inspired by it, you know.
Yeah, that changed a lot of people's lives, and a lot of people also didn't change their lives with that mantra, and that was because they didn't put the feeling behind it. So that was a good lesson for us, that we can learn for those who really did apply it correctly with faith and Yeah, I agree. That really inspires me too, because I've worked with children for about 15
Yeah.
years and they just believe everything. They
Yeah, I
imagine
know.
like
It's
crazy.
great.
Their whole play is just like a musical movie and they just,
I
their
I really
belief and
get
their imaginations are
yeah,
amazing.
I really get inspired by them, you know. Like I have two nieces, and I say to her, "Only the only thing that will stop you in life if you don't believe." And she said, I know that." You know, so I think they're great. Like,
One of the outstanding thoughts in this chapter for me, it's Cheryl here, is seeing yourself already in possession of the
yeah,
money or your desires. It's like no matter what author you read, they all say this. And I think that is maybe the hardest part for me. But what is exciting is that Napoleon says, "Don't worry if you can't do it the first time. Just keep trying, and then pretty soon, your skepticism and autosuggestion will dissipate, and belief will take over. And if you keep doing that, eventually faith will kick in." So that's very encouraging to me, because I really have a hard time, really feeling that I am in possession of it.
And and following on from that, it's Chris here. One thing that I found that really struck me that went on the back of that was also his comments that when visualizing the money you attempt to accumulate, see yourself rendering the service or delivering the merchandise you intend to give in return for this money. That this is important. So it was very interesting for me, that sort of that double bit, both visualizing the money and also visualizing the service you're going to render for achieving or meriting that money.
Yeah, even though you may not have the plan yet. That's kind of interesting, hey?
Yeah, very much.
Cheryl, just to add to what you were saying, when I started all of this, one of my biggest issues was faith. The other one was lack of decision, making a definite decision. And over the past week, and Kali, I really need to say thank you to you because you've been absolutely amazing. I've been reading the chapter on decision for about possibly 3 months now, day in, day out. And a lot of people, it's true, when you tell people, I've been reading the same chapter over and over and over again, they say, yeah, what was it doing? I said to them, repetition, repetition, repetition. And then tonight, I went to a network marketing talk with a couple of friends. And it's quite strange that even though they've never done any of what we're doing, the thoughts of repetition sort of made sense. Now, the only reason I'm mentioning it, Cheryl, is because, when you've got when you have a doubt in a given subject, the repetition of the belief that you have in that subject and the constant repetition, one day, something will just kick in. And when you tell someone that, they'll look at you as if you're absolutely nuts. I know that because that's what happened tonight. And it's amazing on the change that it causes in you. And then it's something that I remembered earlier today, that thing that Napoleon Hill said, that the hand that started writing the book is not the same hand that put it down. And that is exactly what happens. I mean, I can't say that I'm not the same person I was, never mind 3 months ago, I'm not the same person I was a month ago. And that's only through repetition, repetition, repetition. Yeah, that's me.
Well, that's really enlightening. Thanks, Chris.
You're welcome, hon.
I have a question about, in regards to the steps and things that we were talking about and really getting to a place of having the first steps done, down where you've got a definite decision, clear on what it is your chief aim is. And if it's still in forming together, then what would be recommended so that that these that this is being done correctly? So do I just need to go back over the decisions chapter some more to help? That would help to reinforce having that come to surface, or is it taking and writing things all out, more things out?
Writing things out is definitely a good way to get clarity, because once you start that process happening, it'll start to flow and it'll start to come out. So if you're having any issues with not being clear on anything, writing is definitely a good way.
Okay. Because I feel like that I can go in different directions because of the variety of things I'm doing. So it's just kind of like starting to come together for me. But it's and to allow for some flexibility too. I thought that try to do that, but definitely the building the foundation of my financial foundation is my primary goal. Besides everything else that I want to recreate.
So all the things that you're doing kind of all work together, though, don't they, towards one major purpose?
I guess so. I was thinking in terms of if I am, going to be doing something like something that involves marketing, as opposed to just going out and being an author or a motivational speaker or something like that, or I'm doing consulting or working one-on-one with clients. I see it as being a variety of things, unless if I take and I zero in on that one thing. And so that was one of the things that I'm looking into now, is about the marketing opportunities for helping to start to build up a foundation for myself, and then I could utilize doing any creative expression endeavors that are wanting to express through me. Let that be supported, as opposed to it being the primary thing where the money is going to come from, so that I don't feel like I'm being pressured with it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think, and I can't remember exactly where it is, Carly might know, that we do have to have some sort of an income source while we're focusing on getting to where we want to be eventually.
Yes.
Yes,
and
you definitely.
Go ahead, Callie.
I was going to say you definitely want to have an income source. There's not anything wrong at all with, for example, creating a goal or a worthy ideal that includes an income if it's not what your purpose or what it is that inspires you. For example, in your case, Callie, it's a creative expression. There's not anything wrong with creating a goal that includes both. If your definite chief purpose, if your chief aim is where your money is going to come from, and that's what inspires you and that's what resonates with you the most, and that's where your money is going to come from, then you could just have one goal around that includes both your income and obviously what it is that you're doing to bring in that income that you love. If you feel as though your income source is going to allow you to do many other things, for example, many people want to focus on multiple sources of income, yet to allow them to have a certain lifestyle, but yet they have this one thing that really inspires them. There's not anything wrong with having a goal that includes both, something that provides the income that gives you this lifestyle that you want, as well as that which completely inspires you and lifts you up and gives you life.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's helpful.
Colleen, do you mind if I read out part of the text that you send me on Skype?
No, not at all. I don't know which part, but go ahead.
It's a good one. It was, here you go. Your income does not have to come from your purpose. Your income could come from other sources which allow you the freedom to fulfill on your purpose. Now, believe it or not, when you send that to me, for me, and Kali, this is what resonated a lot with me. When I read that, I thought to myself, you know something, I never thought about it that way. Kali, you're absolutely brilliant. I never thought about it that way, Kali, because what Kali did for me was she showed me another direction, another opportunity. And you know how you're saying about, you know, the marketing and everything else. I've created a vision which the marketing, the affiliation marketing, a blog, all work towards my greater purpose, which is I want to continue learning what we're doing now. This stuff inspires me. I absolutely love it, and I love reading up on it. So I need a way to fund me to be able to do this, as well as to be able to help my mother and my sister and my niece, so I can help them fulfill their purpose. And the reason I say that is because I was listening to John Maxwell a couple of days ago, and hand on my heart, I can't remember which video it was, but at the end they do a prayer. And guys, I don't know if any of you are non-religious or anything like that. I do apologize. It's just that for me, religion is quite deep. And I started crying at the end, and I thought to myself, what are you doing? And I thought, what the hell? Why not? So it inspired me. And what he said on that video was, your purpose may be to help someone else fulfill their purpose. And automatically I thought to myself, my niece, who in Orthodoxy, I've baptized her, so she is like my own daughter. I thought to myself, what if my purpose, or a part of it, is to ensure that she lives her purpose? And then, in conjunction with what Kali brought to me on the table, I just thought to myself, oh my goodness me, it's there. It's been there all the time, and I didn't see it. And that is, my purpose is to do what I can, not only for my family, but for whoever I can. I think that was it. It's something that Michael Beckwith said as well, you know, about everybody's purpose is to do with helping another human being or helping humanity in total, but it's what we give. It's what our talents and abilities are to be able to do that. And it's like the Steve Ball thing, which is our gifts, our job is to develop those talents and abilities to be able to give more. And the more we give, the more we get back. I mean, you say that to certain people and they think, oh, I'm going to get money back. That's not what it's about. You get back more richness. And richness is not necessarily money. It's what you get back is amazing. And recently, over the past week, ever since I've taken all of this stuff on, and the way that Kali made me see things, my life shifted in a way which I didn't see before, and things are not just coming, they're flooding. Even things that I don't want are really flooding, but they're not bad things that I don't want, if that makes any sense. So it's all to do with, once you create your vision and you see what you actually want, go with your instinct, because that's what I did. I was split between two different kinds of jobs. One is something that I've been doing all my life, and I find it very, very easy to do. The other one is something I've never done, and I thought to myself, how am I going to do this? And then I thought to myself, you know, the thing I've been doing all my life doesn't pull me anymore. The other thing does. That vision is what pulls me, is what I feel good about. And that's the other thing that I understood about the subconscious. It's the emotional mind. It's not the thought mind, it's the emotional mind. This is what Kali sort of made me realize more than anything else. Our subconscious understands emotion. By understanding that emotion, then we can move forward. Then you create a better understanding in where you want to go in your life. So rather than it's like that every day in every way I feel better, you can say it 1,000 times, but if you don't feel it, if you don't pronounce it on the emotion with the emotional content, it does nothing. Because until you put emotional content on everything that you do, in every thought, what you receive, then it's not going to occur. There's no expectancy, there's no faith. Without faith, you haven't got expectancy. You can't progress. You've got to put everything together. So, Colin, when you feel in your vision that the direction you've got is right, you'll know it. You won't have a doubt, you'll know it. Because something's going to be saying to you, yes, that's it. And the second you hear that but, you say, no, that's it. And that's your definite decision. Once you make a decision, believe me, and that's what I did. Once you make the decision, your vision unfolds literally like a flower. It's absolutely beautiful. Sorry. I'm talking to
Thank you.
Don't apologise. That's great. And you're noticing that as soon as you've started moving towards it, it started moving towards you.
Correct.
Magnetic.
And I think one line in the chapter kind of tells us that too. At line 252, when talking about visualizing or seeing yourself in possession, and with faith, it says, and that way you gain the cooperation of the infinite intelligence. So I think that it hits it right on the head there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so isn't that comforting to know that as soon as you have your definite idea and as soon as you start moving towards it with faith, that you're reciprocated, that universal intelligence gives you flashes of ideas and inspirations to help you to achieve what it is that you desire.
Exactly, and even the resources and people to help you achieve.
Yeah.
And I think I experienced that today, and that was so cool. And also another thing, Chris, when you were talking about your purpose, when we got, who sent out that video today about what your why is? That was really really beneficial to me today, because I think when I figured out my why, it helped me figure out my purpose as well, because I kept looking for a purpose. What is my purpose? I know I have a worthwhile, I'm a worthwhile being, but what is my purpose? But when I decided what my why was, and my why being my children, and how it pains me to see how they are just kind of wandering around in life without a goal, without knowing this information, that became my why, and that became my purpose. And that purpose is going to grow, I would think, like past just my little circle, but that's where it's going to start. And so once I can help a few people, it'll blossom from there. So I think I feel comfortable now that that's always been my purpose. I just didn't realize it. And I thought it was too small of a purpose, but I don't think it is anymore.
Oh, I'm really happy for you, Cheryl. I know you've been struggling with that for a little bit. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for sharing that video today, because that kind of sparked me. Who was that shared that today? Anybody remember? It was the fellow that was talking your why? Yes.
I'm not sure.
So this is...
Which video was that?
Anthony Robbins, that one.
No, I can't remember the fellow's name, but he was talking about how your goal, when you're deciding on your goal, first you decide on your why you want to do something, and then your goal will become more clear. Who was it? I'll go in and check and see if I can find it. Maybe I just got it on Facebook, and if I did, I'll send it out to everybody.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Hey.
So, can I ask a question,
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I just didn't want to interrupt somebody. So I'm looking for an example for the why, and I'm looking back at the summary of instructions on back here around 200 and between 200 and 207, where it talks about that I will, in return for this money, I will give, say on 201, in return for this money, I will give the most efficient service of which I am capable of rendering the fullest possible, efficient service of what I am capable of rendering the fullest possible quality and the best possible quality of service in the capacity of. So is that kind of the why part? Describing the why, which would be describing the why in this example?
That's what he's going to be giving in return for what he wants to receive.
Okay, as opposed to his why for doing what he's doing.
His why, it doesn't really tell us his why, but his why, I guess, is the 50,000. He wants the 50,000. What he wants the 50,000 for, I guess, is the why.
Okay.
This is this here is his plan. Okay, well, the genesis of the plan, the beginning of it. He's going to collect money for delivering this service. That's not a why are you doing something, but that's really how you're going to accomplish it. Think about this, and this is something from Tony Robbins at a seminar that I attended years ago. A friend of his, smoked, and Tony, said, if you want to stop smoking, I can help you. No, I'm okay. The whole 9 yards. This was going on for about a year. Then all of a sudden, Tony was visiting, and the guy wasn't smoking. Well, what happened? And tells the story that his little daughter came into his office. He was smoking, and his daughter was crying. Well, what's the matter? I don't want you to die. I'm not going to die, honey. Okay? Well, I wanted you to, walk me down the aisle when I got married. And I'll be there. No, you won't. And she points to the cigarette. Oh. He put down the cigarette, and that was the last time he smoked. That was his why for stopping.
Oh, that's lovely.
But that really illustrates the difference between your why and how you're going to accomplish something.
Yeah. Okay.
So it has to be strong. Why?
Yeah. Compelling.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty much it. Your desire for money or riches or some object, that's all, I'll almost say fleeting. Okay? It's not really, I gotta have it. I mean, if you read, from Think and Grow Rich, I think it was the earlier chapter where, he's talking about the little girl, coming into the, was it the sawmill or the, and, saying, my mother has to have 50 cents, and the guy saying, go away. All right? Well, all she knew was she had to have her mother had to have 50 cents.
Yeah.
Okay? That was her why. Didn't matter, why the mother wanted it, but her why was Mama needs the 50 cents. And she was going to get that 50 cents.
She stayed firm.
Exactly. But it's got to be the why has to be an emotional why.
Right.
Yeah, I think when the why is very strong, then the how isn't as hard. I think is what maybe is the point, hey?
Yeah, because sometimes the how is quite scary, especially if it's something you haven't done before. And what Napoleon Hill recommends we all do is to write down a list and exhaust yourself of all of your motives and all of the advantages for getting your why. And then the plan you're more likely to stick to it, and it becomes easier because you've written them down. They're all out there. Read them regularly, and that's your why, your motives, and your advantages.
Well, I went to a little thing once, and they had a little formula, and it was intent plus method equals results. And okay, so if results is 100%, okay, or how much is the intent and how much is the method? And if you really think about it, if the intent is strong enough, the method doesn't matter. Because the method, you may try it one way, it's not going to work. Try it another way, it may not work. Try it a third way, it'll work. But the intent was all that you needed.
It reminds me of the story that Bob Proctor talked about or shared of the testimony of a guy that manifested his boat. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike did a.
Yeah, Bob also tells the story about how he became very proficient with the yo-yo. Has anybody ever heard that one?
No. What's that one?
Yeah, I did.
Well, Bob was a kid in Toronto or in the area, and there was a great yo-yo master, if you will, and he was offering a sweater to whichever kid was the most proficient with the yo-yo. So Bob went out, and it was, okay, I got to learn how to do all these tricks with the yo-yo. And the thing was, you had to want the sweater. But and Bob on a couple of occasions that I saw him actually did a couple of tricks with the yo-yo.
Huh. Makes me want to experiment with the juggling and the 3 balls without dropping it. Wow.
And I guess it's also that story of Thomas Edison and all the 10,000 attempts at getting the light bulb to work, and so his intent was to achieve this, and there he is, 10,000, I guess, different methods at trying to get the thing to work, but he finally succeeded.
And when Napoleon Hill was speaking with him one day, he asked about the 10,000 failures, and Edison said, no, it wasn't 10,000 failures, it was 10,000 ways not to make a light bulb.
Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, and Hill also said to him, what would you be doing if you hadn't discovered the solution? He says, well, I sure as hell wouldn't be sitting here having coffee with you. I'd be in the lab trying to figure it out. And that's one from Napoleon Hill. I have him on a recording.
Nice.
And this is why desire is the starting point of all achievement. That's why it's the foundational. It's the first chapter. It's the foundational place where you start from. Your desire.
Exactly.
When you talk about why, when you use the word why, or you use the word intent, or whatever that is, it's desire. It's what creates that burning desire, that obsession. And it's why it's the start of everything. It's why it's the first thing that Bob says is, what do you want? What do you want? And if you can look at why you want it, the more that why is emotional, the more it builds the desire.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, this is Maggie. This has been really, really helpful. I've been really just struggling with getting that burning desire. I mean, I know what I want and I have it down there, but it was like I was confused. And what we were just talking about has just been really clear. So thank you, all of you. This is my first time on here, and I just am excited to be part of this and to also contribute and so forth. But I just wanted to share that I think for me, it was so I wanted X amount of dollars, but so I was putting that into my burning desire because that's the way the book was written. And then, or the script was written, and then I thought, well, that's not why I really want this. And now it's really clear to me that my why or my burning desire could be, if I'm correct here, my burning desire can be the result of earning that particular type of money. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Super.
Thank you, Maggie. That's awesome.
Right, and Maggie, and your why is what drives the burning desire.
Right.
Okay? If you don't have a strong enough why, your desire isn't going to be strong enough either.
Exactly.
Maggie, I'll just have my 2 cents if you don't mind. Callie got me doing something with my whys, and she called it the 7 levels of why. Initially, when she explained it to me, I thought, right, okay. So what you do is, for example, you want to bring your car. And you start with your first why, and you say, right, why do I want to bring your car? So I can get to work. Right. Second why do you want to get to work? And you do it 7 times. Now, if you do that with the first one, the first thing that you want, and everything else, you will realize that that's actually you why clarifies your mind to your purpose for that thing that you actually want. My issue was I didn't have a burning desire for anything that was writing down, and until Cal told me to write down those 7 levels why, it was like going through 7 levels of hell, because it was figuring out the why on each one, following. That's how I figured out my why. That's how I dealt with my burning desire. That's what got me a little bit more driven to come to the point that I am now. So you could try that. Rather than asking a single why, try the 7 levels of why without one single thing.
I love that because what? Yeah.
Yeah, I actually have. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that sounds like it puts more emotion into it too.
Yeah, I actually have a handout that I could probably scan and send to you guys if this is the one.
Great.
Yeah, I'm gonna look for it. It was from a conference that I attended earlier this year. I'll see if I can track it down.
We're gonna just run into those giant teams, especially going out.
That will help you get to the deeper emotional reasons for your desire. You just keep asking why, and then ask why that, and then ask why that, and then ask why that. And as you continue, you will dig deeper, and you will get to the emotion behind your desire.
Kelly, I have a question for you. With the asking the why, how do you get to where you're not just looping why to be able to break into being having awareness? The same kind of thing like a what or a how kind of does that in a different way than the why. But if you keep asking why over again, how do you modify it? Or is that part of the process where you're just doing it for a while and then it kind of clears out enough for something where it gives you that, where you get it's that awareness?
I can answer that if you like, Carly.
Sure.
In coaching, this process is called chunking up.
Well, they originally had 4, and then one canceled, and then so they added another one. I guess at the last minute.
not sure whether that person realises we're here. So it's called chunking up. So you ask yourself, what's the purpose of doing what I want to do, and then what's the purpose of that, and what's the purpose of that, and you eventually get to your higher purpose. Sometimes it's to be happy, or sometimes it's to have more time, or whatever it happens to be for the person. But when you get to the very top, you may go in circles, but that if you just keep asking and asking, you will get to that higher purpose eventually. If you just keep on asking, what's the purpose of that, what's the purpose of that? It's called chunking up, and it chunks right up to your higher purpose.
Well, maybe not.
Okay.
I'm going to have to drop off here in a second so I can pay for my internet service. But about a half an hour before the call, I got an email from one of the things I'm subscribed to, if you will. I don't know how I even got into this thing, but I got a word about a free book on finding high-paying clients for people who are doing things like coaching and what have you. And I know several of you, Nicole included, are into the coaching programs. So I'll copy the link into the chat window, and it's a free book that grab it, and I hope it helps.
Thanks, Bill. That sounds great.
Thank you. Thanks.
Hey, brilliant. Thanks.
It's Cheryl here, and I also have to run, unfortunately. I hate leaving you guys because I know that great stuff goes on, but I do have a commitment, so I got to run today. Talk to you next week.
Have a great day, Cheryl.
Bye, Cheryl.
Thank you.
And I'll be on it.
Cheryl.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Bye, Cheryl.
Thank you. Bye, Cheryl.
Bye. Oh, by the way, I posted that link in the Facebook page.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I'll be out next week. I'm closing on a new house, so I'm flying out to Phoenix for that.
Congratulations.
So I don't think I'm going to have access.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you. I'm going to be a land baron. I'm going to have to own 2 homes for a little while.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, nice one.
Way to go.
Does anyone have anything else they'd like to add to our discussion before we finish up?
I just want to make one. I'd like to make one comment.
Thanks, Carly.
Somewhere, let me find the line. My lines are slightly different than yours because I work from a different workbook. I think I'm about 10 lines off from y'all. But there's just one short paragraph. It's somewhere around, on mine it's 239 to 243. So it's either 10 before or 10 after that. And it says, you are now reading the chapter which represents the keystone to the arch of this philosophy. The instructions contained in this chapter. Is that what it is for you guys?
Yeah.
Thank you. The instructions contained in this chapter must be understood and applied with persistence if you succeed in transmuting desire into money. I just wanted to comment that I cannot tell you how many times I have heard over and over and over and over and over again, whether it's from Doug or from Bob, from Sandy, from everyone, that this is the keystone to the arch of the philosophy. It's absolutely critical part of the process, and the understanding of this and how it works and why it works is going to be absolutely critical for everyone. So really internalize this chapter.
Yeah, I agree with that, Carly. And it talks in here too about focus, and Bob teaches a method where you can use a candle or a dot on the wall to exercise your focus, because it really is an exercise to develop. It's not something that comes naturally to a lot of people to be able to hold an image in your mind for a period of time. So it's something that we really need to practice and to master to be able to.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I need to make sure, I'm pretty sure Nicole said he was going to be there for a ride home, but
Maybe. I'm not sure what's happening there.
Yeah, mine, it's lighting up that's Denise on mine. Yeah.
All right. I think we've just about finished for today, have we? unless anyone else has anything else to add.
I just wanted to ask if anybody would be interested in seeing an ebook on a clarity process.
All right, tell her to have fun.
We'll hand out. Somebody gave me a handout on a clarity process that they've found helpful, and I'd be willing to try to pass it along if that might be helpful to somebody.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I know I mostly listen, but this part really spoke to me, and I would like to read it.
Thank you. That would be great.
Okay.
If you try and fail, make another effort and still another until you succeed.
Yes.
If you try and fail, make another effort and still another until you succeed. The method of attracting money described here does not depend upon the law of averages. Moreover, the method plays no favorites. It will work for one person as effectively as it will for another. Where the failure is experienced, it is the individual, not the method, which has failed. If you try and fail, make another effort and still another until you succeed.
Yeah.
I suppose it's a case of fail your way to success.
Yeah. Like a cybernetic instrument.
And that's going to be where your faith comes in too. It's a big part of where your faith comes in, because when you are trying to manifest something, it's invisible. You can't see it. You don't know what's happening in the world of things and human affairs. Things are conspiring on your behalf, but just because it hasn't shown up in physical form yet doesn't mean that things aren't going on. And people tend to try, and then nothing happens, and they go, oh, this doesn't work. Or they give up, or they lose their faith, or the paradigm starts to come back in. So it's a big point to continue to try again and hold the image with faith that it must manifest, that it must come.
Absolutely.
It doesn't mean that someone else failed. You are going to fail. Just keep trying and you will succeed.
Yes.
Well, you only fail when you quit.
Exactly.
You only fail when you quit.
Hey, Kelly, you've got a desktop there. Can I possibly forward this PDF? I was trying to do it another way, but it looks like the only way I have a way of giving it is by email. Is it possible I could give it to you and you can probably somehow get it onto the Skype?
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Okay.
Absolutely.
Or even onto the Facebook group would be nice, because then everyone who couldn't make the call can see it too.
Okay, I will also double check with the person that I've got permission to first, just at least so she knows I'm sharing it. It should be fine. Otherwise I can just basically make a list of what the process is. So either way, I'll do that.
Hello,
Thanks.
Nicole.
Hello.
Is it alright if I say something?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
You know the way the desire and that kind of thing. But lately can you hear me?
Yes. Loud and clear.
Lately I have this desire. I'm into fitness and that kind of thing. And I always want to kind of help people and do workshops and that, but I really have this desire to do sports psychology.
Nice.
Yeah, I just kind of I've been looking it up for a while, and last week, before it was December, I said, okay, before the 1st of November, I'm going to pick somewhere where I want to do it. And I was going to do it in a class, like you go in, but I seen things online that's really great, and it's only 140, and it's great, and there's loads of training and stuff like that, and you get videos and everything, and these are top coaches, so that's where my desire is coming from, because I have a fitness background and that kind of thing.
That's fantastic. And this book here is an awesome resource for sports psychology.
Yeah. No, I'm really into that, big time. And this thing the group tonight is great. I was meant to go out tonight to a Christmas party, and the taxis were none available, so things happen for a reason, so I'm meant to be on this call, you know?
Yeah, yes, you are.
Yeah.
Sorry, Paul. Can I just jump backwards a little bit?
Sure.
Gilly, that thing you were on about, and it's something about Kali just said about winners. There's a little thing that I wrote on my fridge when I started doing this, and that is, quitters never win, and winners never quit. Write it out, stick it somewhere where you will see it daily. Once you start seeing it, and the more you say it, and make sure you put it somewhere where it's visible. The only reason I'm saying that, it goes back to this thing about repetition. You don't have to read it, but every time you say it, it registers in your mind. The more it registers, the deeper it goes. The deeper it goes, the less likely you are to quit. When you start on something, persistence is one of those things that exhibits faith. And by exhibiting faith, you're saying to yourself, I know I can do this. A lot of us already say that. We already say that, yes, we can do it. But even someone like me, I'll get to saying to myself, it doesn't matter what you put in front of me, I can do it. The difference is am I going to get up and do it? What's holding me back? And it's one of those things, it's a question you've got to ask yourself, what's holding me back? And one of the major things that I found with me on a personal basis was fear of failure. It's a fear. It's one of the fears. It's later on in the book. However, that little sentence, quitters never win and winners never quit, is something I can't describe well enough to say. It's one of the most important phrases that I've in my life. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. The definition of a successful person is someone who is on the path to their purpose. So even though you may have only taken the very first step, you are a successful person because you're on that path.
All right.
Can you guys hear me? This is Helena.
What is it that Earl said? Success is a progressive realization of where the ideal. Until you read into that, it actually says, it's like you say, Nicole, it's being on the path. You're already a success.
Yeah.
And a lot of us don't realize that. You think, success means, having a lot of money. Or, you ask some of the boys here in Cyprus and they all say, it's having a BMW or a Mercedes. And I said to them, well, what's the rest of it? They say, what do you do after that? Well, drive around in it. Right, brilliant. So that's, you understand. And you see that, and I never realized that. And it's when Earl himself says, the guy that wanted to be a bus driver, he's a success. And when you think about that, and you think to yourself, oh my Lord, success has nothing to do with money. And that was the first time, is when I heard that the first time, I realized that I was on the wrong path. That's it.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Okay, shall we wrap it up for a morning, afternoon, evening? Morning here.
Night time in Dublin.
Night.
Night to me, folks.
See you. Have a lovely day or evening.
Thank you so much, everyone, for your inspiration.
Bye.
It's been
Thank
fantastic.
you.
Yeah, likewise.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful week, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.